Hey there, fans, hope you're well. Today I want to continue my series of slow sips and deep cuts where we do a little deep dive into a particular movie. Today I want to talk to you about a movie that a lot of people don't like and a lot of people like. You usually sit on one side with this movie. Today I want to talk about American Psycho. Now, if you know me, you will know that I particularly like this movie. But let's break this down and talk about it a little bit more.
Whoa, very nice.
So American Psycho is from the year 2000 and it stars Christian Bale. And it is based on the novel American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. It doesn't follow the plot of the book exactly. It does take aspects from it, but it is not a carbon copy. So in terms of a plot line, we are going through this story narrated by the main character, Patrick Bateman, who is a businessman. And the period it's set in is the boom of the 80s Wall Street. Now, as well as being a businessman, Patrick Bateman is something of a ladies' man, but he is also a serial killer.
I'm into, murders and executions mostly.
Or is he? So in terms of like a linear plot, and that's quite tricky to do with this film. In terms of a linear plot, what you've got is the slow spiralling of Patrick's character, his various interaction with his colleagues in businesses and with his girlfriends, and people he meets. And then as the film goes, you start to see him commit some hideous crimes, and then somebody goes missing and the police are closing in on their main suspect. So why do I love this movie? Okay, so I think that this is an allegory of the nature of the 1980s and this particular time in history. I think the character of Patrick Bateman is like a vacuous vessel, demonstrating the superficial nature of the 80s. And the film is constantly playing around with the idea of, is this really happening? Is Patrick who he says he is? Are all these people here? Is what's going on in the film actually happening? Or is this in his head? And Patrick is an unreliable narrator in this.
I know my behavior can be erratic sometimes.
So you are constantly on your toes trying to work out what's going on. So in terms of the horror kind of genres, it's not one of those ones where you just pop it on and watch a gory kind of serial killer thing playing out. I think you have to work quite hard with American Psycho, and I can completely understand why it isn't for everyone, and actually how people might find it a little bit dull. I get that. There is a lot of dialogue, but there is, for me, as well as the nasty stuff that's going on, there's a real cynical, humorous edge to it.
Do you have any witnesses or fingerprints?
Actually, yes.
And I like that. And I think Christian Bale's portrayal of Patrick Bateman is a stroke of genius. And like I said, it's a bit of chalk and cheese. Not everybody feels that way. And I really like that it is quite ambiguous like that. I do think that the film version of Patrick Bateman is more sympathetic than in the novel. And equally, if the director had gone for a like for like with the book, I think that genuinely there are aspects of this film that wouldn't have been able to be made. American Psycho sits for me very much in the psychological horror. And I think because I'm so invested in figuring out what's going on in this film, and because of the way that Christian Bale is playing Patrick and the director's more, I would say, lenient treatment of Patrick and his presentation of more an anti-hero, it's much more accessible and entertaining. I think American Psycho is the kind of film that you wouldn't just pop on and watch on a Friday night if you had friends over. I think it's more of a deep dive psychological horror anyway, so it demands more from you. So anyway, if you have seen American Psycho, do you love it? Do you hate it? And what do you like about it? Let's chat.